So I've never shaved the boys before.
No, Benny, you shave around near like.
No, I've taken clippers
I use clippers.
with a guard to that area. I've never actually done the shave. I've thought about it before, but I've never done it.
I take it clear off every Wednesday.
Whenever I answer the phone, I'm like, "Hello."
What pissed you off?
It's a great argument to have.
I love my mom, but I think she's half crazy for doing that.
How dare you?
Do you work with your girlfriend, Mark? Or your wife, Mark?
I keep them separated. Sometimes I call people, they don't answer the phone. I'm like,
Wrong number, click.
Well, he's not that smart. Sometimes he sounds like he knows what he's doing.
yeah.
Go.
So therefore, you're an ass, and I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, but what do we know?
Right. And this, I guess this is out my front door. Like, this is outside. And there you can see like the gutter trap where the road is. Maybe.
Oh, so that's Japan. So if I ever see this on GeoGuessr, I know I'm in Japan.
Yeah.
Did you just leave the door open?
It closes.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
Brian's now a homeowner. He cares about efficiency. Like,
You know, Brian and I both have that same quality in us because it drives me. My wife is famous for leaving lights on indoors.
Oh, God.
yeah, so my wife.
One of the things, I wasn't even that upset about like the flood. I was more upset about the fact that the water ran for 4 hours solid.
you're like, my water bill was $2
It's
higher
gonna be
this month. God
that and
damn
running
it.
those industrial fans. I'm like, my electric and water is gonna be through the roof. Fucking bidet.
Bio bidet.
Bio bidet.
Why is your water bill so high? Oh, because I used because my bidet. I think you're using it wrong.
Our water bill down here is outrageous anyway. We spend $100 a month on water.
Right.
$100 a month?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's been this high since we've been here. It's always been at least over $100. Sometimes 150.
So my biggest problem is I have no idea why our gas bill is so high. But so we have basically a tankless water heater.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it uses natural gas,
Yeah.
and it heats up water on the demand. We've been paying about $200 for our gas bill a month. And that's about, I don't know, $150 more than everyone else around here.
Oh, no.
$200 a month is $150 more than everybody else.
Yeah.
You're
So,
doing
like,
something wrong.
Yeah, obviously something's going on, and it's our water heater because that's what we use gas for cooking. But when I was basically timing how much gas I used for, let's say, cooking food versus using the shower, it uses about 8 to 10 times more gas per minute. So it's just like you should see the gas meter. I don't know exactly what's going on. It's just like zipping by. Like it's almost like going so fast it's going to break the machine. And we had the gas people come like 4 or 5 different times, and they say like keep on telling us like no, it's fine, it's fine. And we can't change the water heater because it's not ours, it's the landlord's. So
Of course they're telling you it's fine. They're like, yeah, keep spending
exactly.
that,
Then
guy.
the gas.
You're keeping me employed.
They're like, take the cover off. Spin it faster. See,
This is normal. This is normal.
It's been pissing me off. Like we just been paying an insane amount on gas, but like I'm telling you, like we've been paying like $150 more than everyone else, like more than our neighbors, and they have more people living next door.
Do you know anybody that has one of those those electric water heaters, or I'm sorry, the tankless water heater?
Yeah, that was
Like,
me.
do you know anybody else?
Yeah, like all my coworkers too, and we've been discussing it, and they think it's hilarious that I can't get the water bill because I was saying like we stopped cooking so much with our gas stove, and we've been just basically using a crock pot to warm up cook most of our foods, trying to get our gas bill down, and it's just like it's almost impossible.
That sucks, dude.
It bites.
And your heat's not gas.
Yeah, it's totally separate.
Do you need heat?
Yeah, it's cold.
What's the temperature outside?
Uh, Probably uh in the 30s, maybe 40s. Like
Does
it
it
snowed
snow?
like yesterday.
It does.
It snowed a little like yesterday.
Do you get snow like you see in Michigan, or is it just like
Nah, not
a
really.
dust? Like a
Yeah,
dust.
dusting. Like sometimes it will have like maybe a couple inches, but then the next day it'll be gone. So
Where are you?
I'm
Japan.
in
That's so.
I'm in Miyoshi, which is just north of like an hour, 2 hour drive north of Hiroshima.
Have you been to Hiroshima?
Yeah, a couple times.
He
So I
actually,
mean, I'm all over
like-
Japan, really. Like all over, basically everything but the Sapporo area, which is the very northern Japan.
How long does
Right.
it take to get around Japan?
Forever. It takes fucking forever.
Forever. It's forever. That's all there is to
Yeah,
it.
I mean, like basically, when you drive in Japan, you're driving like half the speed that you do in the States, and you got to go around mountains and stuff. If you use the Shinkansen, their bullet train, it's a lot quicker. Like you could probably get from one end of Japan to the other in like 3 or 4 hours. But driving, it would take you several days.
You know what you
You
should
speak-
take, Mark? A maglev train.
Yeah, I know.
If they would ever invent one of those things and put them somewhere near where you live. Mark, can you tell the difference between Chinese and Japanese writing if you see it?
Yeah, sometimes. Chinese writing is so basically Japanese has three types of writing. You have kanji, katakana, and hiragana. And katakana and hiragana you could tell because they're sort of like our alphabet. They're distinct sounds. But kanji is basically borrowing a lot of Chinese symbols.
I was gonna say,
So-
I seem to remember you saying that that was like a way more complicated language.
Yeah. So, like, I can't really demonstrate to you, but like, if you were to write, let's say, the English language, you would basically draw like this dumbbell, and then this box, and then sort of like this roof shape, and that's one symbol. That's the Chinese symbol for English, but British English. And then you would draw, let's see, language, no, speak, no, like country, sorry, country, which is a square, which is for mouth. And then you draw three lines and a down. That means king. You add this little dot right here. That means ball. But ball within a mouth means spoken. I mean, country. And then I think language. It's complex. It's pretty dang complex.
Well, especially when it means ball. Oh no, wait, country. Like
Ball, ball
I'm-
within the mouth means a good weekend.
No, it's weird. Because no. Honestly, I'm not joking. You have.
I don't think Mike is
Weird
either.
one.
It's but
So it's a little difficult.
no, but the reason I ask is I play GeoGuessr a lot, and a
Right.
lot of people in my comments get very upset when I'm looking at an Asian language of some type, and they're like, "Oh, obviously that's Chinese, not Japanese, because of it's boxier or it's got more curves or something or other." And that's what I was asking as somebody who lives in Japan. If you saw Chinese or Japanese writing, would you be able to distinguish the difference between the two that easily, or do I just get trolled a lot?
Well, I would say that depending on the length of it, like if it was like a sentence, I would probably be able to distinguish between Chinese and Japanese. If it's just like a word, it would be probably pretty difficult. Now between let's say Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, Korean's very distinct, so I could tell that right away.
What's the distinction of Korean?
Korean is very boxy. A lot of the shapes are just like one line, two lines, three lines, or a circle. So basically, those are the basic shapes for the Korean language.
And Japanese and Chinese both use like more curvy stuff?
Yes. It's a little harder for Chinese though, because I don't exactly know a lot of Chinese, which is zero. But I do know that the Chinese language, old old writing of Chinese language is what Japanese use for kanji, but the Chinese language has since, within the last 10 years, changed their Japanese writing. I mean, the not Japanese, Chinese writing, so it's now different symbols.
Wait, the
So,
last 10 years they've changed their language?
10 or 15 years, they changed the Chinese symbols to simplified Chinese symbols.
Wow.
So it's still like nothing that you can just read. Like it's basically you still have to memorize all the symbols, but they made the symbols simpler to write, supposedly to make it easy to remember. But I don't really think so. One of the theories that they did this is because the Chinese government, they don't want their citizens to read old Chinese writings for whatever reason. So they changed it so you can't actually understand the meaning of those symbols.
Like 1984. New
Yeah, basically sort of like
Big
something
Brother
like that.
is watching for sure.
So, like Chinese writing used to have a lot more Confucianism in it, and although they do like allow Buddhism and stuff now in China, they want to make sure, like, you know.
Do you mean like Confucianism, like men who stand on toilet high on pot? Like that type of Confucianism?
No, more like the Dalai Lama and the older writings, basically when they had feudal lords and kings and emperors in China.
I thought there was just some like really good jokes that they didn't want people to understand anymore.
Right.
sad.
They're like, we're saving these for us.
Yes.
They're too good to part with.
So Jeff, I have a bone to pick with you.
Let's do it.
You remember when you got me the job at McDonald's the second time around?
Okay.
I was probably 21. The bingo hall had just closed, and maybe not 21, and I were working, and you were a manager, I think, and I'm working in the grill, and so one of the dudes there sat down, so I also sat down with him, and Julie lost her shit about it. Like, she was so angry.
I remember exactly this day that you're talking about.
It was my first day. And you just ripped me to shreds for weeks because you're like, I brought you on and blah, 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 and you're making me look bad. And I'm like, Jeff, it's McDonald's. And you never, ever let it go. And it's like, until the point where I was like, you know what? You're right. I should have never sat down when I'm making like $6 an hour in the grill because...
So there's a couple things that go into this. For one, like, yes, I understand your opinion still to this day is that it was McDonald's. It was my job. It was what I had. It was what I was building myself up on at that time. Even though I was a computer engineer at the time who couldn't find any other job. I had a job at McDonald's. I take pride in my work. I don't give a shit what it is. I take pride in what I do, and I was gonna do it to the best of my ability.
No matter what it is.
Yeah, I think the only reason I took it out on you so bad was because Julie was so pissed. Julie was one of the other managers who looked over and saw Brian sitting down on his first day on the job. And yes, you were following somebody else's lead. And I'm trying to remember what that dude. I wanted to say his name was Darius.
That's what I was gonna say was Darius.
Yeah, I think it was this guy named Darius. But this guy was known to be a slacker, and all of a sudden she instantly now attributed you with him and his work ethic and his work mentality. And since I had gotten you in there, she gave me so much shit about it that I couldn't help but give you so much shit about it.
You know, so she was allergic to this cologne I had. And Julie's great. I like Julie a lot now. But I was like, back then I could hold a grudge, and I was so mad at her that every time I'd come into McDonald's I'd take a bath in that cologne And then she couldn't be near me. She'd have to put me somewhere else.
You used to wear heavy-handed cologne.
I did. It was Aqua de Gio or whatever, Aqua de Gio, and it was like I would just like you need like a half a squirt of that, and people will smell you from a mile away. And I would like hit my neck and my hands. I'd come into McDonald's and she would be like, "Brian, why did you put cologne on?" And it's like, because you yelled at me because I sat down. And
What? And for all of us who are laughing about Brian going heavy-handed on the cologne, like I was good for that too, but at least like I was expensive cologne a lot of times.
Oh,
So maybe that makes it a little.
Were you a big cologne guy?
me?
Oh, I still
No,
am.
Mike.
Oh, Mike?
You still are.
Oh yeah.
Really?
You don't wear cologne?
I have not. I'm not allowed to for my job, so therefore it's kind of stopped me from putting on. And it's kind of funny in the hospital field. You can't put on cologne. There's too many people that are allergic to that type of stuff that you're not allowed to wear it to the hospital. And the people in direct healthcare kind of understand that, and for the most part, except a few exceptions I've come across of people who still will put on perfume or will still put on cologne or whatever. The officers, especially the older officers that we have at my hospital, they don't know how to not. And they think it's like their right to be able to go heavy-handed on some like old English cologne, like all over the place. Like it's obvious old smelling cologne, and that's what you smell a lot. And those people get away with it, I think, because they're old, and that's the way it always was.
I think like if you guys don't know that I've always wore cologne, I'm probably doing it right. I think that probably is what that means, is that I wear it light enough.
but then what's the point?
That's a good question.
So when someone
Well-
gets close, you don't smell like McDonald's, you smell like cologne.
No,
Right.
I mean I understand the McDonald's thing, but I mean Mike's like, well, if I have cologne on and you can't tell that I have cologne on, then why
But
bother?
if you're wearing it super heavy and everyone knows you're wearing like the super heavy cologne, like that's kind of a walking joke. I
But
mean, really.
wearing cologne that you don't even smell that you're wearing cologne, I'm on Mark's side. What is the point?
No,
Well,
I think Mike's saying like you don't know immediately he's wearing cologne. If you got close enough, you'd be like, "Wow, he smells good." But it's
I was
not
going to say, like,
you're
if
gonna be
I'm approaching a
overpowered
chick
by
at the
it.
bar,
I would never say that about Mike. Never.
yeah, like if I'm hitting on a chick at the bar and she can appreciate the cologne I'm wearing, you know, back when I was 21, 22.
But
whatever.
I was going to say, but as of now, you're a married man for many years with multiple children.
Right.
Why wear it now if it's subtle enough to the point where it's not even noticeable?
because
Well,
naturally
it's-
Mike does not smell good.
I mean, and that could be the case.
I do assume that his wife does, get close enough to him to be able to tell. I mean, I
Right.
wouldn't, but
Right.
But do you really wear cologne for your wife? No. I guarantee that's a no.
No.
you're gonna get him in trouble, Jeff. You're
The,
gonna get him,
the hesitation is already
No,
enough to know
well-
that no, it's not for his wife.
It'd be for
I put on
himself.
cologne when I put on cologne when I'm going out. Like it's for other people, I guess, but it's not because I'm like insulting my wife. It's just I want to smell decent when I go out.
See, there's
Right,
many
and-
times that I've wanted to put on cologne because I realize that I probably might not smell my pristine self right now, but I don't have any cologne anymore because I haven't owned any in years.
I always own cologne, and generally speaking, I own several different kinds. And I always wear it after, like, a shower. Like, almost never do I put it on because I'm going out after, I haven't showered for days or whatever. And like, Brian was kind of talking about, like, this is sort of a married guy thing where it's, my wife doesn't need to know that I'm smelling good because I'm wearing cologne. It's just sort of like an outward, if people are going to meet us, I don't want me to be the one that is going to stink up the joint and paint
Smell
us
like white. She
negative
stinks.
light. Like this, does that make sense? Like,
No, I mean I sort of get it, but
I mean,
I don't know.
but I
almost
would
like-
I would hope my significant other would be ballsy enough to tell me, like, Jeff, you stink right now. Like, and do something about
well,
that.
and believe me when I tell you, my wife would tell me if that were the case. She would definitely say you smell like shit. But if I wear cologne on days that I know I'm going to situations where it's important for me to smell good, then I don't have to worry about that scenario happening.
I feel like it goes hand in hand with getting ready to, like, if you're wearing decent clothes, it's like putting on deodorant. You put on cologne. Like, if I'm going to work outside and I know I'm going to work up a sweat, like, I'm not putting on cologne. But if I'm
Right.
going,
Do you
if
put
I'm
on
going-
deodorant?
Of course, but that's different.
Well,
I mean,
well,
I'm
well,
saying-
wait, let me ask
No,
that.
no,
Why is that?
no,
Why
it-
is that different?
It's totally different.
Well,
Because-
why? It's not antiperspirant. It's deodorant. It's something meant to mask the smell of your body odor. And if you're going outside to mow the lawn, do you need deodorant?
Well, technically speaking, if I'm going out just to mow the lawn and I'm at my house and I know like it's a Saturday and I'm not going anywhere else before I take a shower, okay, then I maybe not am going to put on deodorant.
But if you're going
'cause
to
it
go out
doesn't
and mow
matter.
the lawn and then go out to lunch, you think the deodorant's going to cover up the smell of everything else that you've done for the day?
But if I know I'm going to do a bunch of work and I have the capability of taking a shower, why does it matter?
But, exactly. Why does it matter? Does the deodorant make a difference if you put it on, went and mowed
Well-
the lawn, and then came in and took a shower?
I mean, technically speaking, I'm a big fan of the antiperspirant deodorant. So,
Oh, so you wear antiperspirant stuff.
So do I.
yeah.
So I
I
do
don't-
not.
yeah. Why not?
I wear, so for what antiperspirant stuff I feel it clogs up my pores to the point where I get irritated. Like
Okay.
antiperspirant one day will last me for 3 days.
You have very
I
sensitive
feel that
skin.
it still is acting 3 days later. Like the what now, Mark?
I just think you
feel
have
like
very
this
sensitive
is
skin.
this
Like when I
conversation
shave, it irritates my face. When I
But I do. In my defense, I have to shave a lot more often than you do, though.
oh yeah, that's true. But I'm not using like 6 razor blades at one time.
They're the wonderful kind of razor blades.
I don't know if like if you went back in time when you like first shaved, and someone's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll give you this one disposable razor with
The
one
caveman
blade,
would be
or
super
this
embarrassed.
beast with 6 blades." I think you'd be like, "I'm never going to shave again." 6 blades.
Well,
I think we just
honestly,
got used
I
to
would
it.
love to never shave again. I would
Yeah.
grow this shit out. I'd be like man beast like going on here if I could. I might keep it trimmed up to look good, but I would let it grow, but I can't for my job. And Julia says she hates any facial hair. That doesn't stop me as much from actually growing the facial hair as it does that I'm not allowed to have it for the job or the volunteer gig.
I go like 2 weeks before I feel like I really have to shave.
See, I've
They-
gone for 2 days
Itchy.
now. I shaved 2 days ago, and I already feel like it's too much.
Yeah.
I can go like a week and it gets like super itchy. Like to the point where even when I shave, I have like
Still
red.
irritated. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like red bumps all over my skin
You know
where
what
it's
those red bumps are called?
still
They're
itchy.
called razor burn. It's why I need fancy blades.
No, I don't agree. I think if you have someone who's like super good at like
It's my beard.
a single blade razor, like if you have somebody who knows how to do that, like I think you're good.
Do you ever try to extend the length of your razor blade use by like wiping on your jean shorts or something? Like jeans shorts, jeans.
Okay, so I have I purchased a like TV, one of those like on TV sales things, like it's called Save a Blade.
I've seen that.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh
I do.
yeah.
It worked fabulous. I mean, absolutely awesome. Like every blade that I ever used with it, I got substantially more life out of.
Right.
Save a blade, you can sponsor our show.
Yeah,
WDWK
absolutely. I
podcast.
I will back that up and firsthand. I
But you still
still
use it,
have
right?
one to this day, and it doesn't matter how many blades are on my razor. Like I just run that thing over it, and it just keeps it sharp. It's a fantastic way to save money. I would recommend it to anybody.
Well, I mean, like I remember one of the things with you, Jeff. You need like a new cartridge like every other shave. I think you said that like when we were at the cabin.
So I used to with a certain old. That's why I kept trying new razors. I need to find the newest razor that's going to do it for me.
Save
Like as we were talking about in the last episode or one of the last episodes, the Dollar Shave Club stuff. It lasts for way longer than I expected it to. It lasts for a solid 2 weeks of shaving.
Save a
So-
blade.
Save a blade might work, but now I'm really curious. What does it do exactly?
It's sort of it's like this little machine that you sort of stick like the razor head into it, and it has these like I'm not sure if they're leather or what they are, but it has this like wheel that has these I think about like a car wash where these things like rotate and like slap your car sort of clean. Like it's sort of similar to that, but I suspect it's probably leather that sharpens the blade of your razor blades. And it when you push the button, it just rotates this head that sharpens your blades and keeps it more apt to give you a clean
So-
shave.
So when you go to like the barber and they use the straight edge, you see them like sharpening the blade on like a piece of leather. And the
Right,
reason
I
for
suspect
that
it's
is,
the same thing.
and it's the same thing where you with knives where you use that whatever stick. It's to
Right.
basically when you shave, the razor actually gets little spurs, like little bits of the metal starts to peel off. And when you use like leather like that or the metal, it cuts off that little spur, so it stays a little bit sharp, like that straight, sharp edge. So it's supposed to keep it last longer.
And it works, is what you're saying. Is it's wonderful. It's the best thing ever.
The Save a Blade works awesome. I would
That's what
recommend
makes-
that to anybody. I really would.
And what I do is after I shave, I use my pants, like jeans or something, and you just run it down your pants a couple times. It dries it off, but I think it keeps the blade still pretty sharp for a while.
See, I haven't tried,
However-
but I might do that.
However, there's a better than 0% chance that you cut your wiener off when you're doing that.
Yeah, I wear pants. I don't do it on my wiener, but
Well, if you do it on your pants, then that blade is close to your wiener, and that's not a good situation.
Well, okay. See, when I said pants, I mean like here, Mike. I don't really actually just do it right here. on
Well,
my crotch.
well, you didn't specify that, and we do
Oh.
know that the underwear that you wear may not be as protective in those areas because it may be 6 or 7 years old. Man,
Yeah.
you've already told us that. So
That's true. We know way too much about Mark's underwear habits.
and I don't just mean us, Mark, because I know it hasn't happened
The whole
yet,
world,
but
I
it
know.
does go live in like a few days, so everybody will know from the point of this recording.
Right, right. And a lot of it is
Right.
live right now, so
Brian's staring at me.
people are
like,
putting the puzzle together as we speak.
No, I'm just wondering if, like, based on your, and I don't even know if I really want to get into it, but
You do.
okay, let's do it. So you said you've never bring a razor blade close to your wiener. So have you've never shaved?
That's a valid question. That is a valid
shave down there. I would say that. Okay, maybe never's a strong word.
So I've never shaved the boys before.
No, but I mean, you shave around near like.
No, I've taken clippers
I use clippers.
with a guard to that area. I've never actually done the shave. I've thought about it before, but I've never done it.
I take it clear off every Wednesday.
Why on Wednesdays? Just I
don't
gotta
know, that's
ask.
the day,
Like
that's
like
right.
why is Wednesday significant to me? I go to the fire department every Wednesday. Why is Wednesday significant to Brian? Oh, I shave my boys every Wednesday. Like significant
Seems like a
day,
good day. I don't know.
vastly different reasons. And hold on, I'm getting on my. This looks really weird. I'm just picking up my mouse.
That's our intro for sure. By the way.
I just clicked off of everything. I hope I didn't screw up the recording. There we go. But
Mark's
I gotta ask Brian, why Wednesdays?
So I used to only really need to shave. I really only shave twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays, my face. So Sundays I shave my face. Wednesday I do all of the what do they call it? Manicure.
Manscaping.
Manscaping. I do the manscaping on Wednesdays.
Same blade.
Same blade, yeah. What's
Face
wrong
and
with
your
that?
balls.
Face and yeah.
Actually, I keep 2 separate ones.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Why does it
matter.
matter? Like, I mean,
So, Mark, you do it enough that you have it has its own blade.
Well, I mean, I don't manscape all of it. Just usually just sort of like the happy trail a little bit. So it's like where I wear like pants.
So you're talking about a completely different thing. Are you shaving up your stomach?
What, between the belly button
Yeah.
Yeah.
and below?
Yeah.
Yeah, just that because I basically, if you know me, without my shirt on, I'm basically hairless. So it's a little weird when I have a little bit of a trail between my belly button and
Yeah, I guess
the
that
rest of my pube.
makes sense for your body physique.
Right.
I
Other
don't
than
know.
that, it's not.
I'm hairy all over the place, so me
Yeah,
shaving my happy
yeah.
trail would be just like, why is there one random patch of like non-hair area right there?
I feel like I'm on kind of the same page as you, but I still do it just out of courtesy for the wife.
You shave your happy trail?
Yeah.
Don't you have like a hairy chest and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So isn't it just like stick out like a sore thumb? Like here's a
Sort
happy
of.
trail. That's...
Well, I don't have like super long hair, like braidable on my chest. Like it's not like that
Yeah.
scenario.
I do.
I only get hair on my chest.
Huh?
I
Brian,
only
say
get
that again?
nipple hair. So I shave.
Yeah.
I shave my nipples.
I did not think that I would be the hairiest man in this podcast. I don't know if that's a feat or like a disappointment.
I have a super I'm pretty hairless, but my neck grows hair like crazy.
You get the lion's mane, like
Yeah,
like
and so
crazy.
I shave my neck with the electric razor every other day.
You
just
do
do-
it on your own?
Every
Yeah.
other day?
Yeah.
How do you
Wow.
get it right?
Wow.
Sometimes I don't. I only need to really be careful after like a fresh haircut when it's real short, because then I can screw it up. But otherwise, I can just take a mirror and just go back there and do it.
Dude, that's one of the reasons I love a fresh haircut is because somebody else will take care of that for me. And if I go to the right place, they will shave it for me with the straight
My wife
razor you're
does that.
talking about and a hot lather.
Oh, that's the best.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I want that to be done every other day. I just go
Shoot,
there and
next
be like,
time-
here's $2. Do that real quick. I'll walk out the door.
Next time, just try to see if they could do your face as well.
I've
never had a full face.
I've
like,
the
straight.
place at Ken's Barbershop up in Grand Blanc has that as one of the options.
Yeah.
I've never done it before. I've never seen anybody get it done before either. But I don't care as much about the face. I'll do my own face. I more want like the will you extend the hot leather or the hot lather shave on the neck to more of the upper back and then maybe even the lower back. Just like do the whole back for me while you're here.
Just
Like,
the whole back,
And
the whole
back,
front. Just
fur like a walrus.
yeah.
So down here in Florida, on the other side of the state, they have like towards Miami, they have this place called the Barber Club where you can join and you pay a monthly fee. So this fee entitles you to like the club has all kinds of things, beer and pool table and ping pong, but also you can go in daily and get a hot shave, get your hair cut as many times in the month as you want, and you just pay this monthly fee like you're belonging to a club.
What's
How
the monthly
much-
fee?
Yeah.
It's pretty stout depending on what you pick. So like if you want like the royal treatment, you can pay upwards of like over $100 a month.
I'd
I
pay
think
$100 a month if you were going to give me as many haircuts as I want, and you're going to shave me.
you'll get as much as you want. Yeah, and like you'll get like I don't think they sell beer, but you'll get like a free beer for being a part of the
For $100 a month, it would.
I'm shooting from the hip here. I thought it was pretty expensive, but I don't know. I don't know how much it
I've
is.
been living in DC for too long, but I don't know. Like that sounds so cheap to me.
Let me look. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's. You guys talk
And
about.
by the way, like DC is ridiculously expensive for being like one of the most dangerous places in the universe. Like it's a shitty city to live in.
Yes, go on. Talk to me about something I'm not aware of at this point.
I just don't understand why DC is so expensive.
I don't either. I don't get it. It's
Well, why do you live in DC?
well, the why I lived in DC is because I went to Georgetown. I had a scholarship to go to Georgetown, which required me to work at a specific hospital for 3 years. So that was 4.5 years of my life devoted to Georgetown as well as fulfilling the scholarship. I have been free to leave now from DC for a while, and now it's because the girlfriend has a job for the government. Hard to get a job for the government outside of DC doing what she does and getting paid what she does.
Probably why everything costs so much is people.
I think that's what it is. I think it's government. But the funny thing is, in Flint, there's bums all over Flint. There's homeless people all over Flint. There's so many homeless people in DC. If you were ever homeless, I would rather be a homeless guy in Flint than a homeless guy in DC, because there's no way that the guy in DC who's asking for change, it makes enough money to go grab a hotel room or whatever for the night. Like, I'm not saying that that's what they should do with their money, but I've heard of a lot of homeless people. They save up enough money and try to go get a hotel room so they can have a good sleep and like a hot shower and stuff. You can't do that in DC. In Flint, you can end up getting $20 and going and staying in one of the like random motels. You could get $20 from people walking by and then go stay at a hotel room.
Well,
DC,
but in
you can't
DC,
do
there's
that.
way more tourists willing to drop money on that.
Not at all times of the year. Like right now, in the middle of winter when it's super cold, you think there's that many tourists?
Well, this is true.
So, I mean, I just, if I was ever homeless, I would move as far away from DC as I could, as quickly as I could, because of the fact that the money you get from people will go so much farther in some place that's not DC.
Honestly, though, if I was homeless, I would be somewhere that's warm all year round.
And that would also probably be a smart idea, is to move somewhere like Florida. And
Yeah. Yeah,
I get it.
near,
I'd find my way to
near Ryan, where all the bums are.
you say find your way to Hawaii.
Oh, without a doubt. Like when my
Homeless
wife,
guy finds his way to Hawaii.
well, when my wife and I went there, it's like people sleep like tourists, who have decent money, like sleep on the beach all the time. So find if you could find transport to Hawaii somehow, which I feel like most people, even if you're in dire straits, like you can find $1,000 to make your way to Hawaii on a boat. If you camp on the beach for, nothing, like the temperature there is great all the time.
So Mike's saying like, oh, there's a whole lot of tourists sleeping out on the beaches, but how do you know they're tourists?
I mean, I guess I don't. That's exactly my argument, is maybe these are homeless people sleeping out there. But I know my wife and I, when we were there, drove by like the public beaches, and there were tents everywhere. Every night people slept on the beach because it's in the winter, it's 72 degrees on average. In the summer, it's 82, and you have trade winds blowing. It's comfortable all year long. So people are always sleeping on the beach.
As much as I love the snow, because I love to be able to ski and snowboard.
I hate the snow.
I love it. And I never want to move anywhere that doesn't have snow, because what I think of is moving to some place like Texas, where it's 80 degrees in the summer, but it's 120 degrees or 80 degrees in the winter. It's 120 degrees in the summer.
My
I
wife
would
and I
give-
are giving serious thought to moving to Texas right now.
Well, I would give that up if I was allowed to move to a place that it was 72 in the winter and 82 in the summer. I would
Hawaii
be
is
okay with
fantastic.
keeping comfortable temperatures because I can't deal with heat and humidity.
You can be homeless in Hawaii and be perfectly comfortable. Believe me when I tell you that.
That sounds awesome. I never even
It's
thought of that.
Like the whole island, like we stayed on Maui and it's a rainforest. So, I mean, you're going to have to deal with rain every day. But when you talk about rain, it's 72 and a light misty rain.
So,
Like, it's comfortable all the time. There was never a time when we felt like, wow, this is bad weather.
but you were only there for 10 days and part of the year. Is that really how it is all the time?
I'm just quoting what I read average temperatures were. 83 in the summer, 72 in the winter.
That sounds fantastic.
Trade winds.
Now,
And it's a rainforest.
you just talked about moving to Texas.
Why
How strong of a thought is this move to Texas?
How strong of a thought is it?
Mhm.
We're actively seeking after Carrie finishes this year with her teaching.
Didn't you just buy a house?
Texas is pretty cheap. Texas
We've
is
been here
about
like we've been in this house like 3 years now.
3 years. Man, I
I'm
just bought that house.
I'm in line for a promotion right now, and if that happens, then it might change a lot of things. But that's, we'll see how that goes.
What's in Texas that you would want to go there? I mean,
well,
just
her
out of
family's there,
curiosity.
right?
Well, number one, my in-laws. I like my in-laws a lot. Number two, the weather. The older I get, I was never a huge fan of cold weather to begin with, but the older I get and the more like it's like trapped in your house. Like, I mean, we literally had a handful of days this year in Michigan where wind chill was like below -20. You can't even leave your house. Like, it's miserable in the winter here. We had days where it was -40 with the wind chill. That's crazy. Like, I don't want any part of that ever in my life. So, I mean, I've gone to Texas in the winter months where they've got a 1/4 inch of snow and closed down schools. Where
How about-
I don't think that's necessary, but I like the ideal of it being a 1/4 inch of snow and the whole town saying, all right, this is enough. We're going to take a break. You know what I mean?
But how about the reverse, though? Like, when it's 150 out and you can't go out without cooking eggs on the sidewalk. That's
You
just
know,
as bad, isn't it?
It's you can, like, coming from here with we have high humidity and heat, and you can still go outside and do stuff. And everything's air conditioned, so you're not going to be. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as the negatives. It's just not.
Is it
It's
really?
not.
What about when the power goes out? I mean, hell, that even happened in Michigan a couple times when I was living there. We had these super hot days, 110 degrees, and the power would go out for 3 days at a time because, like, generators were overheating in places.
Yeah, but Michigan gets that high humidity too. Michigan gets really beat up.
It
pretty
does.
much.
Oh, no, it does. Michigan's got kind of extremes on both ends.
They do, because Michigan will get
Horrible.
hotter than
Horrible
Southwest Florida. I mean,
Well-
in the summer. It's
Like, Jeff, my house in Flint, I didn't have air conditioning.
You
I had
had
a
a
window
window
unit.
unit. I remember you went out and broke down and bought a window unit for that one room because it got so freaking unbearably hot.
But the bedrooms didn't have, like, window units, And Michigan, you can just exist without air conditioning. I mean, it's not comfortable, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
my parents actually don't have air conditioning, and they live.
in
Sure,
Goodrich.
Right.
like if you have nice windows with good screens and stuff where you have good airflow, like Michigan is fine for that. Now in Houston, Texas, you don't want to screw around with not having good airflow and good air conditioning. Don't get me wrong, but like this Michigan weather, when we're talking about -40, life is miserable.
And if you lose power now, that'll kill people. Like, you can live with 100-degree temperatures. That -40 will kill you.
See, I
Right.
feel I could heat myself up easier than I could cool myself down.
Well, that's because you're so hairy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
whenever I answer the phone, I'm like, hello.
What pissed you off?
It's a great argument to have.
I love my mom, but I think she's half crazy for doing that.
How dare you?
Do you work with your girlfriend, Mark? Or your wife, Mark?
I keep them separated. Sometimes I call people, they don't answer the phone. I'm like,
Wrong number, click.
Well, he's not that smart. Sometimes he sounds like he knows what he's doing.
yeah.
Go.
Therefore, you're an ass, and I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, but what do we know?